So, Brock Purdy has officially passed concussion protocol. He will definitely start for the 49ers against the Cincinnati Bengals tomorrow. News just came down from the 49ers. We knew when we left the team facility on Friday that Purdy was in step 4 of 5 of concussion protocol. He had to pass the fifth and final step, and that was going to be possible today on Saturday. Already full go at practice on Friday, by the way. So Purdy has now passed fully. He will definitely start against the Bengals. Sam Darnold will only come in if Purdy gets hurt again against Cincinnati. So we have to say another round of conspiracy theories didn't last very long. Absolutely ridiculous, right? Earlier this week, people were saying that Kyle Shanahan was doing this on purpose to get a look at Sam Darnold, even though there was clearly video of Brock Purdy's head snapping back there after getting hit by Jordan Hicks on the quarterback sneak. That is presumably where the concussion happened on Monday night. Purdy had a short week to be able to get ready and through concussion protocol, but he has made it through protocol in time for 49ers Bengals tomorrow. What this tells us is that Purdy dealt with the concussion symptoms really well, that he did start to feel them on the flight home from Minnesota, but they did not slow him over the course of the week. There were no setbacks as he went through concussion protocol, as had been the case with other quarterbacks in the past. There was a time when Alex Smith with the 49ers suffered a concussion, started progressing through protocol, but then a couple days later regressed through protocol and then was unable to play the following week. So concussions are unpredictable things. Players obviously need to be protected from concussions and their after effects, protected from returning too soon. But that's why the intensive protocol is in place. Brock Purdy underwent the intensive protocol. Nick Bosa spoke to us this week. Remember, he had a concussion against the Cowboys in the playoffs at the end of the 2021 season, and he passed through protocol before the 49ers beat the Packers in the divisional round. And Nick Bosa talked about how intensive that protocol from an independent evaluator is. A lot of cognitive testing, and this is a person that's not affiliated with the 49ers. So Purdy had to pass through all of those steps with the independent evaluator before being cleared for this game on Sunday. Obviously, significant news. The starting quarterback is the most important position out on the football field. So it's going to be Brock Purdy on one side, Joe Burrow on the other side. Purdy obviously won't directly face Joe Burrow. He's going to face a Cincinnati Bengals defense that has improved over its last two games. And they're also going to come into this game fresh off of a bye week. Cincinnati's defense has gotten better as the offense has gotten better and possessed the ball for a longer period of time. Trey Hendrickson is one of the hungriest edge rushers in football. That brings me to my next key that is still undetermined. We're wondering about Brock Purdy's potential status. Well, why don't we now talk about Trent Williams' potential status? Because obviously you're going to want to protect Brock Purdy as he returns from a concussion. Trey Hendrickson, who's one of the hungriest edge rushers in football, has 7 sacks already this season. He lines up exclusively over left tackle. That's Trent Williams' spot. Last week, when Jalen Moore started for the 49ers at left tackle, Daniil Hunter was the top opposing edge rusher, but he spent most of his time rushing against right tackle, and Colton McKivitz had a rough game, gave up 6 pressures in that one. This time, if it's Jalen Moore at left tackle instead of Trent Williams, who has an ankle sprain, it's Jalen who's going to have the tough challenge against the really good edge rusher and Trey Hendrickson. And I'll tell you how to beat the Bengals. You beat the Bengals by running in Trey Hendrickson's direction. The run defense for Cincinnati has been poor on that side. They've given up over 5 yards per carry on runs to the left side. And that's because Trey Hendrickson pins his ears back and just goes after the quarterback. He's not really waiting to see if there's going to be a run play going against him. So the 49ers can have their way with Cincinnati on the ground if that trend continues, but it would certainly help to have an adaptable all-pro presence like Trent Williams at left tackle. And if not, well, then Jalen Moore is going to have to be the one who gets that job done. Either way, you want to create a platform for Brock Purdy that the 49ers have not created over the past 2 weeks. They have not run the ball successfully enough over the past 2 weeks to create that balanced platform that you would like. Last week, Brock Purdy played really well. Last week, it was a ton of Minnesota run and pass blitzes. The run blitzes effectively pushed the 49ers into throw mode against the blitz, and Purdy was flawless against the blitz. His 2 interceptions came late. They weren't against the blitz, and they also were after he was probably concussed on that quarterback sneak. In fact, the worst throw and probably the only bad throw of the game, truly, from Brock Purdy was the interception that was intended for Jawan Jennings, but went straight to Cam Bynum. That came literally right after the Jordan Hicks hit to Brock Purdy's head on that quarterback sneak. So anyway, creating a run backbone. The Vikings did this for Kirk Cousins the week before. The Browns did it for PJ Walker, but creating that run backbone is just important from a football sense. You want balance. And if you have balance against a team like Cincinnati, you can beat an over-aggressive edge rusher like Trey Hendrickson, who's going to be rushing against left tackle. Purdy, I mean, we should take a look at how good Purdy has been this season, because I think that there's been a ton of misinformation about Brock Purdy. So I'm going to pop this open on the screen. We're going to go to the Summer Sports website. They do such a good job of aggregating a lot of this efficiency data into one spot. So here we go. Let's present this on the screen, share it. Boom. Here you have it. Quarterbacks this year. Why don't we go to EPA per play, efficiency per play? Oh, look who's number one by a fairly wide margin still, despite the fact that he wasn't really efficient in Cleveland. He was efficient in Minnesota. It was a good game for Purdy in Minnesota, but it's Purdy, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Tagovailoa, and Herbert. The reason I put this up here, the conspiracy theories that there literally were people who thought that the 49ers wanted to sneakily bench the most efficient quarterback in football due to a contrived concussion. That actually was a talking point out there that seemed to be getting some traction. So just I advise you, be careful where you get your information from, because there are places that will give you accurate stuff about the 49ers and there are places that will not give you accurate information about the 49ers. So Purdy leading the league in efficiency within the context of this 49ers offense. He's been really good. And that was even without Trent Williams. That was without Deebo Samuel, without Christian McCaffrey for a significant portion of the game against the Cleveland Browns. And by significant portion, I mean the part of the game that Purdy drove the 49ers down the field against the number one defense in football to set up a potential win. Obviously, Jake Moody didn't make the kick, but Brock Purdy has passed test after test after test for the 49ers. And now he's passed concussion protocol. So he's going to be back out there on Sunday looking for the 49ers to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. I think San Francisco could really use this win. I don't want to say need. I don't want to say must win, because that's hyperbole. That falls on the side of histrionics. This team is 5-2. If they're 5-3, they're still very much in everything heading into the bye week. But just from a standpoint of building momentum heading into the second half of the season, staying in a very legit positioning to grab that 1 seed. You enter the bye at 6-2, everything is fine and dandy for the 49ers. And I think that that's how they're approaching it right now. It's not going to be easy because Cincinnati, again, is rested. The 49ers aren't. But they need a grimy win. The 49ers talked about this after the game against Minnesota. Well, they have a chance at it right now. Their quarterback, their QB1 is back. No debate about that anymore. Remember, conspiracy theories. Oh, Brock Purdy's not really the QB1. That was wrong. Brock Purdy's not really that good. That was wrong. Brock Purdy is not going to play against Cincinnati because Kyle Shanahan doesn't want him to, because he wants to see Sam Darnold. That was wrong. So at every single step, there's been a lot of wrong stuff about Brock Purdy, but I do think that the 49ers can continue setting the record straight moving forward as he has been cleared from concussion protocol. All right, we got a nice little crowd here on Saturday morning. Why don't we talk a little bit more about 49ers Bengals? Statue of Joe Montana behind me. See, I try to arrange the numbers so it goes 16, 17. I know 12, and the Andrew Luck is a little bit different. You subtract 5 there, but the 16 and the 17, just look at this side of me. 16 and 17, Joe Montana, really happy that Brock Purdy has been cleared from concussion protocol. That is an actual full statue of Joe Montana. Look, I could even reach to it, and you could see the back of the jersey, Montana. But I think it's more proper if Joe Montana's watching the show, so we'll put him this way. Make sure he doesn't fall off of the ledge. All right, good. Joe Montana happy that Brock Purdy cleared from concussion protocol. Let's open it up to 49ers Q&A here on Saturday morning. Went to a Halloween party last night. I was Waldo. A lot of people were like, "Oh, I found him." And it took me a while. "Oh, they found Waldo." I'm like, "Oh, what were you looking for?" "You found Waldo." I had the striped red shirt there. And then I ran into another Waldo, and it was kind of this matrix collapsing moment because I don't think that Waldo is supposed to be in any spot twice. I think that there's only one Waldo in each Waldo world. And there were two Waldos as I was walking down the street. So it was cool. All right, 49ers Q&A. Let's do it. It's not a must win. A must win means that you have to win or else you're not going to be in the playoffs or your season's eliminated. It just simply isn't a win. It'd be nice to win. That they might feel that they need a win, but that's just how they feel. It's not a must win unless it's a must win. We need to stop tossing around must win because it sets crazy expectations and stakes for games that aren't there. This is week 8 of a 17-week NFL season. So I think it's important to keep that perspective. Do they have a Steve Young statue outside like the Montana one? No, they don't. They should do one of the Steve Young Vikings run, though. Him stumbling across the goal line. That'd be great. You could either do that or you could do him stumbling on his way back uh, eh, as he dropped back against the Packers in the wild card game, January 1999. All of that would fit well for Steve Young. They obviously have a statue of Steve Young in the team Hall of Fame, which is inside Levi's, but they don't want to have one outside like they do of Montana and Dwight Clark. Yeah, the 49ers are chasing the first seed, but it's still not a one. Still not a must win. They were still in the 1 seed race last year, despite starting 3-4. Right. So at 5-3, they wouldn't be out of anything, especially if they're playing Philadelphia. Your chances are a lot better. Again, it would be nice to win. Must win, nice to win, though, aren't the same thing. It's a big game for the 49ers. I'll acknowledge that. I'm just not one that buys into a ton of hyperbole at this point. I think that we need to keep each week in perspective because people definitely lost their perspective after week 6 and 7. Score predictions are going to be coming a little bit later. Going to do it from a cool spot in San Francisco. I mean, this is a cool spot now, too. This room is improving with the Joe Montana statue, but I can't do the score prediction from here unless it's like pouring rain outside or something, and I can't really technologically do the video from a cool spot. What is the possibility of the 49ers making a huge trade by the deadline? A huge trade, probably not a high possibility. One of those more micro transactions, yeah, decently possible. A lot of it depends on what falls into their laps as far as what makes sense, and that's why the speculation right now is kind of tiresome because we'll find out if they make a trade by Tuesday, right? That's when the deadline is. I believe 1 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday. We'll find out, and then we'll analyze the trade if it happens. But, just some of these people list like 100 possibilities, and then nothing happens. And then they never mention the fact that they listed 100 possibilities that never happened. That's why I kind of sit here. I've done one trade video before the trade happened this year, or trade or acquisition video, because it was initially thought to be a release. When Denver and Randy Gregory determined that they were parting ways, I made a video saying, will the 49ers pick up Randy Gregory? That's the only one I made. One of one. Because that was an educated video. That was, okay, let's talk about Randy Gregory because he would fit the 49ers. Let's go. There are so many other pieces of speculation and possible players that people are talking about that have 0 to 1% chance of ending up with the 49ers that it's just blowing hot air, right? So let's just wait. Let's wait a little bit here, see what happens on Tuesday. And then if it does happen, okay, we could talk about it then. It's not a champagne bottle. It's a bottle of Lombardi wines. I've always had the football, or I've had it for a couple months. It's football. Over this shoulder right here. It's a football, a stack of books, Joe Montana, the 17 jersey. You don't get to see the name on the back of the 17 jersey. Like, the name on the back of the 16, right? So you could see that name. I know it's a little bit blurred in the portrait, but with the depth of field, but that's Montana. You don't know what 17 is going to be until the 49ers win the Super Bowl. They have to win the Super Bowl before that happens. Anyway, we'll turn Montana back around. So I've always had that on that side. On the other side, I've had the Lombardi wines, Pinot Noir. Tony Lombardi, Tony and Christine Lombardi up there in Sonoma County. You could look him up. Good stuff. Good last name. I got to appreciate it. 49ers fans too. So, and I have more stuff that is going to adorn the background that I'm still figuring out. If you want a sneak peek of it, go to my Twitter yesterday. I posted a cool little collection of memorabilia. You might be seeing some of that stuff in a background at some point soon. Just haven't had a chance to set it up. Plus, I mean, we got 2 studios that we have to keep going. This is the San Francisco studio. Then we got the Nashville studio. So there are possibilities everywhere. Bye week coming up. So you might see some stuff out of the Nashville studio. There was a host that suggested trading Purdy now. This is why just stay away from sports TV. I think I give you enough content to consume about the 49ers and stick to a place that's actually right about 49ers discussion. It's not just TV that's wrong. So many of these other channels, wrong. And then they wonder why they don't grow fast enough. It's like, well, if you just stick to what actually happens with the 49ers instead of speculation, probably do a little bit better. And the 49ers are remarkably open, I think, about their strategy. So analyzing what they're doing, to me, it doesn't seem to be that difficult. And then when you have people saying, they're going to trade Brock Purdy or they should trade Brock Purdy, it completely misses every single pillar of reality in the situation. Again, Brock Purdy has been the most efficient quarterback in football. Any debate about Brock Purdy not getting the job done or potentially getting traded is completely obtuse because it's not like he's number 5, number 6, number 10. He's literally been number 1. He's been ahead of Mahomes. He's been ahead of Allen. He's been ahead of Justin Herbert. The way that he's running this 49ers system right now has been eminently impressive. They're 5-2, which is a good record. They would have been 6-1 had their kicker finished the job against Cleveland. Brock Purdy did his job, even though he struggled in that game. Right? But I think Brock Purdy played a great game against me. I know he played a great game against Minnesota. All the objective data illustrates that. And then we wondered, okay, well, what happened on that one throw that he missed to Jawan Jennings? Oh, there was a concussion right before that. Maybe that's what happened. We'll never definitively connect that, but we do know that he roasted the blitz all afternoon. We know that if you put a list of reasons why the 49ers didn't win against the Vikings, Brock Purdy would be very low down that list. The defense would be at the top of the list. Lost you guys there for a second. So Brock Purdy would be way down low on the list. The defense would be at the top. And Brock Purdy is actually at the top of another list, and that is he is the number 1 most efficient quarterback in the NFL. Where's the 49ers defense ranked on run defense? They were number 25 in EPA per play in run defense entering last week, and that's actually a good question. I don't know the exact rank right now, so I am going to open it up. Hopefully, Summer Sports has it. Defense, EPA per rush. They're a little bit better. They're right around 20, it looks like right now. They don't have this numbered on Summer Sports, so I could just count it. Hold on. 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. No, 24. 49ers are number 24 against the run. Let me share the screen with you again. I lost it while I was gone there. Here you go. This is run defense EPA, the best run defense in the league. The Falcons, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Cleveland, and Dallas are the top 5 run defenses in the league. The bottom 10 are here, and you could see the 49ers at number 24 in run defense EPA. They got better in the second half against Minnesota, but by that point, Kirk Cousins had already built the platform. The Vikings had built it for him, and he built some of it too. He was executing a lot of good run checks at the line of scrimmage. So brutal for the 49ers because over the past 2 years in 2021 and 2022, the 49ers had ranked either 1 or 2 in run defense. They had been in these 2 spots with either the Falcons or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, here you go. This is some analysis. It's up on the Athletic. Mike, I'm going to send you the link to this. If you can toss this into the description, please, and get this and send it over to Mr. Mike. This is our just a little newser. Brock Purdy clears concussion protocol, expected to start against the Bengals. So be sure to subscribe to the Athletic. Be on top of that so that you have all of the true 49ers news essentially in real time. It comes out really quickly. All right, this is an issue. We got Purdy up on the screen. We have the 17 jersey. Purdy covers the Luck jersey, which is by design since this is a 49ers centered show. But Joe Montana, whose statue is a new addition to the show, is a little bit out of the frame. So we're going to fix the issue. There we go. He's kind of blocking 17, but it's a cool dynamic, right? It's a cool visual. I think that works. Anyway, make sure you check this out. You got Purdy, Montana, and 17, Steve DeBerg, which it's not a Steve DeBerg jersey. I've already said that. But you've got all three of those guys' numbers on the same screen. Somebody's saying the Athletic. He subbed for a pound a month, or is that a euro a month? I think that's a pound. I think that's signed as a pound. So you must be from the UK. I love it. Randy Gregory's playing fine. Randy Gregory's actually been really good. The problems for the 49ers on the defensive line, I think, have been with Drake Jackson not setting an edge. He got pancaked by tight end by Hawkinson the other day. I thought Cleveland Farrell on the first run to Alexander Madison that really set a tone for the football game. He got washed out. The backup edge rushers, and I know you don't have Sansom Ebukam anymore. He set really good edge for the 49ers last year, but it's the edge rushers that aren't named Nick Bosa and Randy Gregory are the ones that aren't playing well enough early in games in setting edges against the run. And then the 49ers aren't flowing early in games downhill against the run. They've been caught trying to pursue sideline to sideline instead of attacking down. And in a wide nine, you've got to attack down. You want the attack to be vertical. So there's been slight mispositionings of the defense, and then at key spots, the defensive line has not won against the run early. And key spots, I'm talking about Drake. There was a big key spot where Hawkinson flattened him. I'm talking about Farrell, that it needs to get better. I'm talking about Javon Hargrave. On the very first play to Madison, Hargrave got pushed off the ball in the middle. When the defensive tackle loses, it makes it harder for the linebackers behind him to flow downhill, like I'm saying. They're going to start flowing side to side instead of flowing downhill. But Randy Gregory, I think, has been a nice addition. He's getting more and more snaps, and you can expect that snap load to continue to grow for Randy Gregory over Drake Jackson because Randy sets a more physical edge. And Randy is not as heavy as Drake Jackson. But that just shows you a lot of it is mentality. A lot of it is strapping up and being ready to fight. And you have to be ready to fight on that edge to make sure that teams can't get it. You have to take it very personally. And Randy Gregory is a player that the 49ers really liked because on his tape, you've seen through the years that he plays very, very physically on the edge, even at 242 pounds. One more week of Brocktober. One more game. And you would think that the climactic point of Brocktober would be Halloween, right? Or October 30th when the 49ers play the Bengals. I think Christian McCaffrey is showing that his usage rate is fine. The guy's a machine. Just give credit to Christian McCaffrey. He can go out there, even with the oblique injury, he was able to perform. The guy is an absolute machine. I don't think there have been any concerns on the inside about that yet. Glenn thinks the 49ers are hungry to win this football game. You know, I went to a Halloween party last night. Where's Waldo? Or I was Waldo. No, where's Waldo? There's Waldo. We found him, but went to one last night. I'm invited to another one tonight, but I have a game tomorrow, right? The 49ers play tomorrow against the Bengals, and I like to be fresh. I like to be lucid for the game. I'm definitely going to go swimming today in the bay. That's going to be fun and get my mind right before this game tomorrow. I'll just continue pumping out the content too. Someone made a good point about putting McCaffrey wide and having Mason in the backfield. Closest thing to having Debo back. Well, one thing though about McCaffrey is when he's in the huddle and Mason and Mitchell aren't, the defense doesn't know where he's going to line up. Right? It's the adaptability of the individual that makes the team put into a position where they can really flex their positional versatility muscles, right? So if Mason's already in the game, then you could say, okay, wait, McCaffrey's probably going to do something more passing oriented because Mason's not going to be lined up in that way. That's what's slowing Mason and Elijah Mitchell down the most, is that they're not nearly as good in the pass receiving game as Christian McCaffrey is. But McCaffrey, with how adaptable he is, he can be a receiver. He can line up at running back. The defense doesn't know how to formationally guard that when he's the one in the huddle. So that's why, and same thing with Debo, right? That's why having both Debo and Christian McCaffrey is a cheat code for an offense. Right now, they only have one. That's why you need at least one. They have one, but it's better to have both. Yeah, Mason hasn't been great in pass protection. That's a good point from Mike. And that's the thing, you want to protect Brock Purdy. You want to protect your game script. You don't want to get blown up in the backfield because of a running back missing something in pass protection. It's a big deal. It really is. So that's something that Jordan Mason has to continue to work on. I haven't been wearing a wetsuit, but occasionally I will. Like for my Alcatraz swim I did for buoyancy, just because it was a heavy current kind of day. I ended up not really needing it, I feel. But now it's starting to get colder in the bay. It really is. I mean, it's just getting colder air wise outside too. So might have to start thinking about at some point in the winter. I always put on the wetsuit. I'm not one of those crazy people that's out there without one in 48-degree water. Why not put Conley or Bell in the Debo role? Because well, I mean, they have tried to put Ronnie Bell in it. Ronnie Bell's not Debo Samuel. Ronnie Bell's a nice looking rookie who could develop into something, but Debo is Debo. He's a singular player in the NFL. He's set yards after the catch records in his first few years in the NFL. Nobody has ever done what Debo has done at the wide receiver position. I mean, he's a complete truck at that receiver position. Ronnie Bell's not a truck. Chris Conley's a speedster. He's not a truck, right? So you can't just plug different players in. It's not like make a player in Madden and put him into this role because somebody's hurt. Debo Samuel is unique. He's singular. And that's why they paid him a lot of money. And that's why they're special when he's out on that field and healthy. And they have gotten Ronnie Bell some reps. It's tough though. As a rookie, you're still building some of the strength. You're still building some of the playbook knowledge. You're still learning the reps of the NFL game, right? Especially in Kyle Shanahan's system, it's so damn complicated for receivers, and he's very particular about things. But I think it's worked out. I think it's turned Debo Samuel into a really good player. That attention to detail. It's turned Brandon Ayuk into a really good player. It just means though that sometimes rookies aren't going to be featured right off the bat, especially on a team that already has so many other talented players on offense. There are literally people shouting to trade Debo Samuel. They don't know what they're talking about. Uh, how many times do people want to be wrong about stuff? It's insane to me. Wrong on Purdy. They're wrong on Garoppolo back in the day. I mean, the 49ers were happy to have Garoppolo's efficiency while they had it. Then they went to Brock Purdy, and they're getting that efficiency plus more on a cheaper deal. A lot of people were really wrong about Trey Lance, gosh, over the course of this offseason. Wrong about the 49ers prospects. Wrong when they were 3-4. wrong when they were 3-5, wrong right now when they're 5-2, wrong about Debo Samuel. I mean, it's insane how long this list is. It's like a 0% hit rate on some of these 49ers takes. So I'm glad that we're a lot closer to 100% than we are to 0% on this show. And the trade Debo Samuel thing is just preposterous, not to mention financially unfeasible for the 49ers at this point. Yeah, trade a guy. We just named a captain. That's what the 49ers would say if they traded Debo Samuel. Casuals. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of casuals, though, but I guess that's part of having a big fan base, and the 49ers have a huge fan base. We have, I mean, we have no idea what Jake Moody's going to become. We don't. He started off hot. He missed a couple kicks. Is he gonna course correct? I mean, he made the 55 yarder against the Minnesota Vikings. Could be a massive career altering kick for him. So it's a gamble on Jake Moody. I don't think like anybody, I haven't at least proclaimed anything one way or the other. I said, let's wait and see how this turns out. You explain the 49ers thought process, you explain the probabilities, you explain the history of a similar move, and then you see how it works out. And you chart it from week to week, and you get a big enough sample to be able to make an educated verdict. And we're nowhere near an educated verdict on Jake Moody yet. He's under the microscope for sure, but we're not at the point where we can determine or rule this one way or the other. Exactly. He's a rookie and he's still growing. And the 49ers, I think, recognize that that would be a need when they first picked him up. Well, that this is an overly simplistic way of looking at it. The Bengals offensive line is not great, no, but I don't think the 49ers defensive line has been getting dominated in the pass game. I think that the struggles have come in setting some edges against the run, but they've a lot of it happened this last game. There's multiple issues, right? So we got to keep it all straight. Steve Wilkes has come out and acknowledged that the coverage combinations weren't where they needed to be against the Minnesota Vikings. And if people are misaligned in the back end on coverage, if guys aren't in the right spot coverage wise, and you have a good quarterback on the other side, and you're going to have a good quarterback this week in Burrow, you had a good quarterback last week in Kirk Cousins, then he's going to be able to get rid of the ball before the defensive line gets to the quarterback, no matter how badly they're beating the O line. Coverage has got to do some of the work. It's coverage and rush. It's not coverage or rush. So the 49ers right now are looking at their issues as ones of our coverage needs to be better to help out the pass rush. Besides that, some of the down and distance, some of the blocking scheme that teams are using, a lot of max protect, seem to be putting the 49ers defensive line on its heels in some opportune moments. Good schematics. Like the NFL is the best players, the best schemes, the best adjustments. Teams have adjusted to what the 49ers are doing, and the 49ers are now trying to counter adjust. It's about playing the game downhill. You have to play the game downhill if you want to look good defensively. And the 49ers have been playing the game uphill the last couple of weeks. So it's not as simple as, oh, these guys are frauds. These guys need to beat this offensive line. No, it's a complex formula where they need to make sure that they win key junctures against the Bengals in the coverage department, in the edge setting department, so they can play downhill. And that's why it could look a whole lot better really quickly. That's how you can go from looking dominant to mediocre really quickly, because you lose at some of those key junctures and all of a sudden you start playing downhill instead. So all of a sudden you start playing uphill instead of downhill. And as you know, it's a whole lot easier to ski downhill than it is to trudge up the mountain. I think it's clear so far that Purdy is the real deal. I don't think we've seen anything to indicate that he's not. Week in, week out, he's been getting the job done for the 49ers. Even his one bad game this year, his one inefficient game of his career against Cleveland, he got the job done there at the end. So just let the data continue to grow, the data set continue to grow, and I think it will indicate that Purdy's in a really good spot. Yeah, I mean, Joey absolutely knows his stuff. Joey's a good commenter. I mean, I put up his comment. I might have disagreed with some of it, but just good discussion. Joey Nichols, good dude. Joey's on here a lot. Jason's on here a lot. Thank you. I don't know Jason M in person, but I have another buddy, Jason Uhas, who's on here a lot, but I don't think he chats very often. I don't think that he is part of the comment section. But I appreciate everybody who's on here a lot. We just hit 50,000. What's 16 plus 17 plus 12? It's not 50, is it? That'd be cool if it was. 33 plus 12, it's 45. So we need to get a number 5, a Jeff Garcia or Randy Gregory jersey, and put it back there. It would add up to 50 in the background. Just hit 50K. But pretty soon we're going to be at 51, so we'd need a 6, and then as it grows, I mean, just that final jersey back there could be whatever we need to add up to however many subscribers we have. Everybody hit that subscriber button, though. We are at 50K. It is super exciting. We got to sit back and celebrate a bit this weekend before the 49ers play the Cincinnati Bengals. The national narrative is Looney Tunes. I love it. All right, guys, time for me to get going. Brock Purdy has been cleared from concussion protocol. That's the news. Another round of conspiracy theories did not last long. Go ahead and check out The Athletic. The link is in the description. Mike tossed it in there. You can subscribe now, and we're going to have subscribe here because I'm going to have my 49ers Bengals prediction coming very soon. I went to the Canyon Inn for the Will the 49ers beat the Bengals piece yesterday. Legendary 49ers Bengals spot. I mean, it's the most legendary 49ers bar in the world. So you can check that out. Stay tuned for the prediction. Stay tuned for more 49ers intel today. We're going to have everything about this 49ers Bengals matchup coming up. But wanted to get this for you. Brock Purdy has been cleared from concussion protocol. So that is good news for the 49ers. He's going to start tomorrow. Everybody subscribe. Stay tuned for the next content. We'll talk to you very soon and celebrate the day just like the statue of Joe Montana.